Imagine stepping outside in July and your yard, the one that looked bare just 2 months ago, is overflowing with color, fragrance, and non-stop blooms. Sounds like something that takes years, right? Wrong. These perennials don't just grow, they explode across your garden, filling empty spaces faster than you believe possible. And if you plant them in May, by summer, your yard could look like a lush cottage paradise most gardeners spend years trying to create. But be warned, a few of these spread so fast, you'll wish you planted them sooner. If you love easy perennials and lush landscapes, hit that subscribe button and let's jump right in. Number 10. Creeping Phlox, the living carpet of color. Picture a dull, empty slope. Now picture that same slope buried under a waterfall of pink, purple, and white blooms so thick you can barely see the ground underneath. That's what Creeping Phlox does, and it does it fast. This low-growing perennial creates a dense flowering carpet that spills over borders, softens pathways, and transforms bare edges into a cottage-style blanket of color. It's a pollinator magnet, it controls erosion, and once it's established, it practically takes care of itself. Why May is perfect? The warm soil in May encourages rapid root spread, so your Creeping Phlox gets established before summer heat arrives and comes back even stronger next spring. Plant it on sunny slopes, trim it lightly after blooming to encourage dense spreading, and watch it do the rest. Question for you. Do you have any bare slopes or edges in your garden that could use a ground cover like this? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear what your biggest problem area is. But if you think that spreads fast, the next perennial can practically swallow an empty flower bed in a single season. Number 9. Bee Balm, the pollinator magnet that keeps expanding. Close your eyes for a second and picture this. Hummingbirds darting between bright red and purple blooms, butterflies completely covering the plant, and the whole garden buzzing with life from morning to evening all summer long. That's Bee Balm, and it earns every bit of that reputation. This fast clumping perennial has a wild cottage garden look that makes any yard feel alive and untamed in the best way. Its blooms last for months, its foliage is fragrant, and it creates a living wildflower sanctuary effect that no other plant quite replicates. Why May is perfect? Spring warmth pushes explosive stem growth, and planting now means it establishes quickly before its peak blooming season kicks in. One heads up, Bee Balm can spread aggressively in rich soil, improve airflow around it to prevent mildew, and divide the clumps every few years to keep the display even more impressive. And surprisingly, the next plant is one most gardeners completely ignore until they see it take over an entire border. Number 8. Yarrow, the tough perennial that refuses to quit. While other plants are wilting in the summer heat, yarrow is over there absolutely thriving, blooming, spreading, and acting like the drought and the scorching sun are no big deal at all. This is the plant for every tough spot in your garden. Poor soil? No problem. Full sun? Perfect. Barely any rain? Yarrow doesn't care. It develops strong roots fast, gains real size before summer peaks, and produces huge flat-topped clusters of blooms in yellow, pink, red, or white that create soft, layered waves across the landscape. The feathery foliage adds incredible texture even when it's not blooming. Bees and butterflies love it, and once it's in the ground in May, it wastes absolutely no time getting to work. Pro tip, deadhead regularly for non-stop flowers and avoid overly rich soil. Lean conditions actually make yarrow happier. Now wait until you see the perennial that creates a literal wall of flowers by midsummer. Number 7. Black-Eyed Susan, the backyard glow-up plant. There's a moment in late summer when the evening sun hits a mass of black-eyed Susans and a whole garden just glows. Golden blooms catching the light like a field of miniature suns. It's one of the most cheerful, uplifting things a garden can do. And Black-Eyed Susan is one of the most beginner-friendly plants on this entire list. It produces massive amounts of blooms, self-seeds heavily so it comes back and multiplies year after year and delivers that long-lasting summer color that makes landscapes feel full and alive. Why May is perfect? Warm temperatures trigger rapid growth, so you get strong establishment before the real blooming season begins, which means bigger, better flowers right out of the gate. Leave some seed heads at the end of the season for the birds. Plant them in large drifts for maximum visual impact, and let them self-seed freely if you want even more of them next year, because you will. But the next perennial doesn't just spread flowers, it spreads fragrance through the entire yard. Number 6. Catmint, the fragrant cloud perennial. Imagine soft purple-blue blooms spilling over your garden pathways like a low-lying cloud, while bees hover over every single stem in a constant, gentle hum. That's catmint, and it looks expensive without costing much at all. Catmint has one of the longest bloom periods of any perennial on this list, combined with wonderfully fragrant foliage and a soft, dreamy appearance that instantly softens hard edges and creates those lavender-colored borders you see in designer cottage gardens. It's drought-tolerant, pollinator-packed, and in May it establishes quickly in mild spring temperatures, building out into fuller, more lush mounds by the time summer arrives. Pro tip: after the first bloom flush, cut it back hard and you'll get a second explosion of flowers. It loves full sun and really doesn't ask for much in return. And now we're getting into the plants that spread so aggressively, some gardeners actually regret planting them. You've been warned. Number 5. Obedient plant, the beautiful garden rebel. Don't let the name fool you. The obedient plant is anything but obedient. This is the pretty troublemaker of the perennial world. It quietly, sneakily, relentlessly takes over flower beds, and by the time you notice, it's already everywhere. But here's the thing, it's gorgeous. Tall, elegant spikes of pink or white blooms rise up and create vertical drama that most perennials simply can't match. It spreads underground through aggressive root growth, forming dense flowering colonies that make landscapes look mature and full almost overnight. Planted in May when spring moisture fuels that aggressive root growth, and it establishes before heat stress even becomes a concern. Important? Give it room to roam or use edging barriers to keep it in check. Divide it often, and plant it somewhere you're actually happy to see it spread, because it will. Question for you. Are you the kind of gardener who loves a wild, spreading, fill-everything-in look, or do you prefer things neat and contained? Let me know in the comments, because the next few plants are definitely for one of those types of people more than the other. But the next plant may be the fastest-growing ground cover on this entire list. Number 4. Ajuga, the shade-loving carpet maker. Take the darkest, most depressing corner of your yard, the one under the tree where nothing grows and the ground just looks bare and forgotten. Now imagine it transformed into a glossy purple-green carpet that looks like something out of a woodland fairy tale. That's Ajuga, and it does it in shade. This is one of the most valuable perennials for anyone dealing with difficult shady areas. It spreads through runners in mild spring conditions, fills empty spaces before summer arrives, and its rich, colorful foliage looks stunning year-round, not just when it's blooming. It's low maintenance, beautiful, and genuinely transforms lifeless areas under trees into lush, woodland-style garden scenes. Heads up, Ajuga can creep into lawns if left unchecked. Moist soil speeds its growth dramatically, so keep an eye on borders. But in the right spot, it's absolutely magical. Most gardeners don't realize the next perennial can grow taller than your mailbox in a single season.
Number 3. Joe-Pye Weed, the giant pollinator tower. If you want drama, real drama, Joe-Pye Weed delivers it in a way almost nothing else can. By late summer, this towering native perennial rises up with massive, dusty rose flower heads that become absolutely buzzing with butterflies from morning until sunset. It's breathtaking. We're talking genuine height here, 6, 7, even 8 feet tall in the right conditions. It creates instant layering in garden design, makes everything around it look intentional and professional, and near fences or at the back of borders, it becomes the dramatic backdrop your whole garden has been missing. Planted in May for rapid spring root establishment, and it takes full advantage of seasonal rain to launch skyward before summer even peaks. Pro tip: give it room, keep it near the back, and cut it back in late winter for the cleanest results. The butterflies will thank you every single year. But the next perennial spreads so fast, many gardeners call it the ultimate fill-in-the-gaps plant. Number 2. Coneflower, the endless summer bloom machine. While other plants are struggling, fading, and giving up through August heat, coneflowers are still standing tall, still blooming in pink, orange, purple, and white, still attracting every pollinator in the neighborhood. They simply do not stop. Coneflowers are tough, reliable, and get better with age. They self-seed over time, building out into bigger and bigger prairie-style displays that feel colorful, wild, and completely full of life. Plant them in May, and warm weather jumpstarts strong root systems that lead to bigger, better first-year blooms than you'd get planting later. Deadhead regularly for continuous flowering through the season, and leave the seed heads at the end of the year. The birds will absolutely flock to them through winter. And finally, the #1 perennial on this list spreads so fast it can completely transform a backyard in just one growing season. Number 1, Creeping Jenny, the ultimate spill and fill perennial. Imagine golden trailing foliage pouring over the edges of pots, spilling across pathways and filling every bare gap in your garden like liquid sunlight. That's Creeping Jenny, and it is without question the fastest, most visually transformative perennial on this entire list. That brilliant chartreuse color works as a stunning contrast against darker plants, flowers, and hardscaping. It fills gaps rapidly. It creates that overflowing, professionally landscaped look that most gardeners dream about for years, and it does it in one season. Planted in May when warm spring temperatures trigger explosive runner growth, and watch it establish before summer stress hits. One important warning: in moist soil, Creeping Jenny can become seriously aggressive. It's perfect for containers, edging, and erosion control, but trim it regularly if you want to keep it tidy. Final question for you. Of all 10 perennials on this list today, which one are you rushing out to plant first? Drop it in the comments right now. I read every single one. Honestly, it's hard to believe how quickly these perennials can take a bare, empty yard and turn it into a lush, colorful paradise when you plant them at exactly the right time. And May might just be your single biggest opportunity to make it happen this year. Don't wait for everything to look perfect before you start. Plant 1 or 2 of these this weekend and watch what happens by July. Which of these fast-spreading perennials would you plant first? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more low-maintenance plants that make your garden look incredible year after year, make sure you subscribe and check out the next video on your screen. I'll see you there.